Hello. In this episode, we're going to talk about factoring any trinomial. In the previous two episodes, we're factoring b squared, x squared, right? So let's recap. We have factored in previous two episode clips. We factored two forms. Okay, one is x squared plus bx plus c, and the other form is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, c are integers, right? Where a cannot be 0, of course. And we can see it's a process of trial and error. And the question is there a way that allow us to factor any trinomial, whether a, b, c are integers or not? There can be decimal, fraction, anything. And the answer is yes. Okay. The general idea is that in order to find the factors, so what do we do? The first step is that we're going to solve the equation using quadratic formula. Okay, so we're going to have x1, x sub 1 equals to 2a negative b, let me make the fonts larger, okay, minus square root b squared minus 4ac. This is the first solution to this quadratic equation. The second solution is x squared is x sub 2, which is plus everything the same. So we get two roots to the quadratic equation. We know that quadratic equation always have two roots. Then, right, so first we solve for the solution. To the quadratic function. So we get x1, x2. And then the factors, okay, the factors would be equals to, okay, a times x minus x sub 1 multiply x minus x sub 2. And you found your factors. This will guarantee you always have factors. Well, sometimes, of course, your factors are real numbers, and sometimes your factors may be complex numbers. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Okay, example number 1. Okay, this example, if you use a scheme we learned in the previous two episodes, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. So what can we do? Okay, so step 1, we solve the equation. Step 2, we compose the factors. Two steps. It works all the time. It works forever. Okay, so in this case, okay, so suppose we're going to take the step 1, right? So we're going to solve for x. Solve for x using quadratic formula. Okay, so we're going to have 2. Okay, you can write them together if you wish. Okay, so x is equals to 2a under negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac. Okay, In our case, b is 1. B is 1. So minus 1 plus minus 1 squared minus 4 times a. A is 1. C is 1. And a is 1, of course. Right? So we got this solution. Of course, there's two solutions. 2 times 1. Negative 1 plus minus 1 minus 4, that's a negative 3. So we're going to have negative factors. We're going to have a complex number factors. So right here, we're going to get 2 and negative 1 plus minus I times root 3. And here you go. Our x1 and our x sub 1 is equals to negative 1 minus I times root 3 divided by 2. And our x sub 2 is going to be negative 1 plus I times root 3 divided by 2. And step 2, we're going to compose the factors. And the factors are going to be x minus x1, x minus x sub 1, multiply x minus x sub 2. And equals to and now we're going to substitute x1, x2 in the form. X1 is this guy. X2 is the other guy. Okay. And then you say, how do we check our work? How do we check our work? Of course, this can be written in different forms, right? And we can check our work. Okay, we're going to check our work. When we check our work, we take the factor. And we take the factor and we operate. Okay, so here you can see we have a minus, there's a negative 1 minus I. So what we're going to do is that we're going to separate the real number part with the complex number part. Okay, so here you're going to have a plus, you're going to have a plus half plus, okay, I'm going to put an I in here and root 3 over 2. The same thing here. So that's going to be x plus half minus, okay, minus I times 3 over 2. Okay, if we view this one as A, okay, adding something, subtracting something. So this reminds us of this special formula. Okay, A plus B times A minus B, which equals to A squared minus B squared. Our A is x plus 2. Our B is I times root 3 over 2. Okay, so this will give us x plus 2 squared, x plus half squared minus B squared, right? So B squared, this guy is the B. Okay, squared. And then we'll simplify that. To work this out, we just FOIL this. Okay, so x, you can use a special formula, right? So x plus x plus a quarter. 1/2 squared is a quarter. Okay, and the other one, you're going to separate it into I squared with √3/2 squared. Okay, oops. This is x squared, sorry, I missed x squared. So this piece, we get x squared, oops, x squared plus x plus a quarter. And the other piece minus I squared itself is -1. Okay, √3/2 squared, that's 3/4. Okay, so in the end, then you will see this will work perfectly. You're gonna have x squared plus x plus a quarter plus 3/4. And which is exactly x squared plus x plus 1. Okay, so these are the factors. Okay, these are the factors. We certainly can organize the work a little bit. Okay, which we get the hint from here, right? So we can use this one, we can use this letter form as our result. Okay, this will be a preferred form. You can see in the factors, we have complex numbers. Okay, we have complex numbers. So at the root cause, then we, in this case, what happens is that b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Okay, so in this case, we have, complex number factors, which is consistent with the quadratic, the 3 cases, right? Which is the kind of 3 cases. So let's look at the, let's look at another example. Let's look at another example. This second example, I'm going to work with you. Example number 2. Okay. Okay, so since I plan on this, so we just use this one. Okay, then I will get another example if this one, if we still have time. Okay, and well, this trinomial looks very simple, but if you try the schemes we had, right, in the previous 2 episodes using special formula, none of them works. Okay, you're not going to be able to find the factor easily, and with working with the integers, you cannot make it. Okay, so what can we do? Well, we can just use, so we can just solve for x, right? Solve for x from the quadratic equation. Okay, so here I'm going to use a slightly different steps. For example, I'm going to just go straight to b squared minus 4ac. Okay, because this will give me an opportunity to assess the situation. Okay, so I have a -1 squared, which is b squared, minus 4 times a is 1, 4ac, c is 2. So once again, I'm getting what? 1 minus 8. I have a -7. So I'm going to have a complex number factors as well. Okay, so this time I'm going to have a complex number factor as well. Okay, so what do? Which is still very similar to what we did earlier in the first example. And but by finishing b squared minus 4ac, it makes the process plugging in the formula a little bit simpler, right? So this time you have a 1 plus minus, right? Negative 1. So here you have a negative 7 in the square root. So you will get 2 under 1 plus minus I times square root of 7. So we have a complex number situation. Then you just decompose the factors, okay? So the factors will be composed as the same thing, x minus x sub 1, okay? And x minus x sub 2. And we need to specify x sub 1, which is one of the two, right? If this one is the minus, and the other one will be the plus, right? X sub 2 is going to equals to over here, that's going to be plus, right? And just plug in, okay, plug in, so separate, so x minus x1 minus, and the other one is x minus x2. Okay, and if you like to organize the term a little bit, and you will get x minus half, okay, plus I times root 7 over 2. And the other one would be x minus half minus I times root 7 over 2. Okay, you can still check your work. You can check your work. That the step will be similar to the previous situation. Okay, similar to the previous situation. I'll leave this part for you. And I want to go over another example. Okay, this time it's still not a very, it's still very difficult to factor using the previous scheme. And for example, this one. Okay. All the scheme is difficult. You can try it. It's not going to work. Okay. So what do we do is that I'm going to do these steps minus 4ac, and the b squared, we have a b which is negative 3 squared, sorry, negative b squared, minus 4 times a is 1, sorry, and c is 1 as well. So we have a 9 minus 4 equals to positive 5, larger than 0. So in this case, we will also have factors. We'll also have factors. So the solution, okay, solution to the equation equals 0 are, okay, so x equals to 2a, 2 times 1, which is a equals to 1. B is 3, negative 3, that's a 3. 3 plus minus square root of 5. Okay, so you have 2 solutions as well. But these 2 solutions are real numbers. Once again, we have x sub 1. The first solution, you can choose either one. And this is going to be 3 plus, it really doesn't matter which order you use it. Okay, so 2 and x sub 2 is equals to 3 minus square root of 5 divided by 2. And then the factor will be, so here are the factors, okay? The factors are going to be, of course, 2 factors, and a is 1, so x minus x sub 1. And the next one is x minus x sub 2. Okay, to have a closer look at these factors, we're getting x minus x sub 1, which is this guy. And the other factor would be x minus x2, which is this other guy. Okay, organize our work. We will get x minus 3/2 minus square root of 5 over 2. And the other factor will be x minus 3/2 plus square root of 5 over 2. And we can check our work. Okay, we can check our work. Okay, when we check our work, we'll take these presumed factor form. We cannot, we just give ourselves some time to not to, before we check it correctly, just check it and then make the claim, right? So what we see here, this is A, right? So this is A minus B, A plus B. So we can have that A squared minus B squared. Okay, so 3 over 2 squared and minus B squared. B is root 5 over 2. I'm sorry, squared. Root 5 over 2, yes. And then the previous one we FOIL, so we get x squared, right? So we basically use the formula here. We use this formula. Okay, so for this part, we're using this formula, a minus b squared equals to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. You can see these special formula, very handy, right? And over here, what we used? We used a plus b times a minus b equals to a squared minus b squared. Okay, so now when we FOIL this piece, we can use this formula. So that's going to give us minus 3x plus 2 under 3 squared, that's 9 over 4, minus 5 square root over 2 squared, that's going to be equals to 5 over 4. Okay, so in the end, we get x squared minus 3x and 9 over 4 minus 5 over 4, that's a 4 over 4. 4 over 4 is a 1. So we got the factors. So to summarize, right, factor any by trinomial of the form, okay, and this is the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where we assume that a is not 0. We can always factor this will always be factored into A. We actually didn't do examples of when A is not equals to 1. Okay. So that's going to be x minus x sub 1 multiply x minus x sub 2. Okay, where x sub 1, x sub 2, okay, are solutions to quadratic equation equals to 0. Okay, and there's also two cases when b squared minus 4ac is larger than 0. We have two real number factors. When b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, we will have two complex number factors. Then you say, well, how about b squared minus 4ac equals to 0? You have two, so one, just to make it complete, okay? B squared minus 4c equal to 0. We have two identical real number factors. Okay, so these are the three cases. So let's do one more case. This will be example number 4, where a is not equals to 1. Okay, so that's example number 4. Okay, so let's use this example. 3x squared plus 5x minus 1. Okay, and this is going to be very difficult to work with any existing schemes for integer coefficients. So we're going to resort to this particular, this method we learned. It will always give you factors. It will always give you factors. Okay. So once again, we're going to do b squared. So we're going to have some preliminary, calculation to see what should we expect, right? So 5 squared, that's a b squared minus 4 times a is 2 times c is negative 1. So we have 25 plus, as books are, we're going to have a positive number, right? So we're going to have two real number factors. That's negative 8. Negative 8 times 1, negative 1, that's going to be giving us positive 8. 25 plus 8, that's going to be 33. That's not a perfect square. So we're going to have, then we're going to calculate the roots. Okay, so negative 5 plus minus square root of 33. We cannot decompose the root 33. And 2 times a is 2. So our solution here will be, here is 4 and negative 5. Excuse me, plus minus root 33. So we got two roots here. Okay, we got two roots. Okay, so one, so x sub 1 equals to that root. We're going to use negative sign. And the x sub 2 is going to be the other root, we choose a positive sign. Okay, and the factors will be okay? X minus x sub 1 multiply x minus x sub 2. But here, be careful. A is not equals to 1, so we're going to have to put 2 outside. Okay, so let's check if it's going to work, right? If it doesn't work, we're going to make some adjustment. Okay. Now x minus x1. So here's my x1. Okay. And the other case is x minus x2. This is my x2. Boom. Just put it there. Okay, so then we're going to organize our terms. 2 is outside. In the first parentheses, we're going to apply the negative sign to the fraction, right? So we're going to have x minus negative 5/4. So that's going to be x plus 5/4. Adding root 33 divided by 4. And the next one is x plus 5/4 minus root 33. Okay, and that's it. That's the factors. And of course, we're going to check our work, right? We're going to check our work. Sorry. Okay, we're going to check our work to see if that works, right? Does it work? There we go. So we're going to check it. Okay, and that equals to 2 is here. And once again, a plus b times a minus b, right? So that's going to be, we're going to put 2 here, and we're going to put a bracket because right now we're going to work on these product, right? And we see this product as a plus b times a minus b. A plus b times a minus b, right? That equals to a squared minus b squared. Okay, so this is a plus b minus b. So a minus b, that's a plus b, okay? So here we're gonna get x plus 5/4 squared minus b squared. So this is our b squared. Okay, oops, wrong place. Okay, squared. And then 2 is still outside, and we're taking care of the inside. Okay, so we're going to FOIL the x plus 5/4. Okay, so that's going to be a plus b squared. We can use the special formula, which is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so that will give us x squared plus 2ab. 2 times x times 5/4 plus 5/4 squared. Okay, so that's the entirety of this guy. Minus, when we square this guy, we get 33 in the numerator. Denominator is a 16. All right, so continue this process. We have 2 times. So if you like, you can put in the parentheses. So x squared plus 2 times 5/4. 4 and 2 reduce. So we have 5/2 of x. Okay, so 5/2 of x. Okay, plus 25 over 16. 25 over 16 minus 33 over 16. There. Okay. 2 still stays outside. 2 still stays outside. And then we're going to work with the inside. Okay, the inside, the x part doesn't need to do anything. We just have to combine these two. Combining these two, we have a same denominator, 16. So positive 25 minus 33. So we ended up with the minus 8 over 16. Okay, so now we can multiply the 2 inside, distribute the 2 in other words. So 2x squared, okay, plus 5x minus, right? Look, this is 8 over 16 is really half, right? It's really half. So this is really half. So 2 times negative half is minus 1. So is this the original form we got? Yeah. So we got the factors. So you can see this method always lands us with factors. Okay. And once again, to summarize, b squared minus 4ac. And this is consistent with, we have always studied about quadratic. Okay. That's all for this episode. Thank you for watching.